really exciting. Can I get a quick show of hands? Who is not familiar with SBDC?
Oh,
Guys, don't be shy.
wow.
Okay, thank you. Because I don't know all of you. Well, for those of you, maybe it's been a while, or if you haven't heard of us at all, I'll just give a real quick refresher. We're a small business resource organization, and our goal is to help businesses be successful through education. So, helping you learn how to run your business. So we hopefully avoid costly mistakes. We avoid issues before they even present them to your company. We are federally funded. We are part of the SBA. And really what that means for you all is that we are federally funded and we're taxpayer funded. So we're a free resource. Why would you use us, right? If that wasn't a good enough sell, we have a small team of 4 staff members, but a volunteer staff, or volunteer team of 35 members of all different subjects, all different areas of expertise that provide our one-on-one advising sessions. Those are free to our businesses for the lifetime of their business, no matter what stage you're at. We also provide workshops like this with our chamber partners and then other small business resource agencies throughout El Paso and Teller County, which is our region. So this is about as far north as we go, as far south as Fountain, we're out east in Calhoun, and all the way out west to Woodland Park and so if you are not in the Tri-Lakes area, we thank you for making the drive up here today. But check out any of our other locations and satellite offices. We have a variety of different topics that we offer monthly, workshop-wise, and then again, we have a team of about 35 different advisors that offer one-on-one advising. I think that's a real value in what we have to offer small businesses. I don't know about any of you, and I'm not trying to step on any toes if this is your business, but sometimes meeting with attorneys, CPAs, it can get really expensive, like really, really quickly. I know, I heard you guys talking about that, so I'm like trying not to.
There's 2 CPAs right
amazing work, but sometimes you don't even know what questions to ask, and it can be a little overwhelming to sign up for, maybe it's a free consultation, or maybe it's paid. What if you are being asked to pay $300 for a session, and you're like, I don't know what to ask. How do I make use of this time? And that's where we can help you. Not doing it for you, but helping you ask the right questions to get the answers you need to make smart business decisions and reach whatever small business goals that you have. So we are really, really excited to be serving El Paso and Teller County. We're excited to be partnering with the Chamber and to bring these education classes to you every single month. If you have any questions about the SBDC, I will be right over here, happy to answer them for you. But I'm the most boring part of the whole day, so we went through my part really, really quickly because I knew you guys had come here to hear me. But it is now my pleasure to turn it over to Abigail, and she can talk about the Tri-Lakes Chamber.
Awesome.
Hello, y'all. Thank you. Good to see you. My name is Abigail, and I am the event planner on the Tri-Lakes Chamber of Commerce team. Most people hear about our events, but we are a hub for all the things that are happening in the Tri-Lakes region to help connect businesses with the government, with the people who are approving your buildings, like the laws that are being passed in business, with creating online presence, and all of those things. So events are part of what we do, but it's only part of what we do. What we do is we helped with the 4th of July, so we do a lot of things really well. But anyway, if you're new to us, I'd love to talk to you about it. We love to be part of the whole life cycle of your business, of helping you get started, connect with people in the community, and have the resources that you need to flourish and help our community flourish. We are thrilled to do this event today, and it is partly due to our sponsor that we're able to do it. So I'm going to introduce Pete Olmixon with Peace of Mind Limited. And Pete, would you come up? Thanks so much for our coffee and food today.
Good morning, everybody. I see some familiar faces and some new faces. So I am Pete Olmixon. That's this tree. So it doesn't have anything on it. This does. So I was a Navy veteran. I served. I was an electrician. I flew helicopters in the Navy. I retired about 18 months ago. And my primary job is this. I'm the odd job guy. Anything you don't want to do, just call me. I was an electrician before. I do a little bit of construction stuff. So if you need something, no job is too small. Something you don't want to do because it's just yucky, gross, just call me, okay? And I'll come do it
I
for
can
you.
attest to that.
Me too.
So, and I'll come help you out. So, have bagels. There's a lot of them. And there's coffee. There's water. Help yourself. And then on the bar is a pan of chocolates. Make sure you get chocolate because everybody should have chocolate every day. It makes the day better.
Thanks, Pete. Yep. So I bought a new old house, and Pete came and helped me clean out the air ducts and the dryer vent because we couldn't use our dryer vent and it was blocked in our house. And it was a crazy job, and he did it for me. So he has a huge heart to serve people and a huge heart for hospitality. So if you have something or you know someone who needs help in doing something, maybe an older person in our community, he loves to serve. So consider thinking of him. Thank you, Pete, for making this possible today. We appreciate it. And Dan Woolley is now our speaker. He's one of our members here at the Chamber, and he is in business with a company called Spry. And we are thrilled to have him speak today about navigating this world that's changing with AI. Like, how does SEO and AEO and all those things, how are you found on the internet? How do people find you? How does AI influence how people find you? How does that work with Google and all of that? So we're thrilled to have him today. Dan, take it away. The floor is yours until 1 o'clock.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. So my name is Dan Woolley, and I run Spry, marketing and AI agency. So really working on pivoting towards, you guys have heard of AI? Does that sound familiar to you? So about 30 years ago, I heard of this thing called the World Wide Web. It looked like it was going to be kind of important, and so I decided to hitch my career to that, and that's been an exciting and wild ride because it changes all the time. And now I feel like we're kind of in the same situation with AI. It's coming so fast, so furious, and so I'm trying to get my arms around it so that I can help other people get their arms around it and take advantage of it. And I was honored to be asked to help with this this workshop on AEO. Has anyone heard of AEO? Some of you? Yeah. So, anybody heard of SEO? Yeah. Everybody's heard of SEO because you probably have like 30 emails in your inbox telling you need better SEO and offering to give it to you, right? Exactly, yeah. So, today we're going to talk about how's it changed, right? So about 25 years ago, I was managing the website for a university, and I was watching how does traffic come to our website, and I saw that a lot of traffic was coming from these new things called search engines, Alta Vista, Excite, Yahoo. So I had an intern start tracking it in a spreadsheet, and so how much traffic are we getting? And then all of a sudden one day this new one came up, Google. What is that? That's weird. So I got involved, and then we started looking at, okay, what terms, what search phrases are they using to get to our site, and what can we do to influence that, and stuff like that. So I've been through the roller coaster of search engine optimization for over 25 years. And just when you think you've got it figured out, things change again. And so I'm used to kind of navigating that. And so now, with AEO, it's the next thing that's changed. So you guys have probably had your site out there, and then someone tells you the Google algorithm changed, and now you need to do blogs, and now you need to do social media, right? Okay, so now with AEO, I want to help you walk through what is changing because of AI, okay, the new world of AI. So I have a handout for you guys. Did everybody
I got more printed, so.
I don't have it.
Okay.
Let's get those out. Great. I don't have a PowerPoint today, so I wanted to do things a little differently. So we're actually going to work a lot from, so when I teach AI classes, and when I do, it's usually a laptop in hand experience. And so this will be a little bit more, I'm showing you stuff. So I wanted you guys to have something tangible in your hands to work with. So that's why we have work mostly from the worksheets. So So, have any of you been approached by people for AEO? We've got to solve your AEO issues. Is that happening yet? A little bit? Okay. Existing
Emails almost daily.
almost daily emails saying, hey, your website's great, but you really need to solve this AEO thing.
They don't use those specific words, but
Yeah.
they use the verbiage of, hey, I looked at your website, I reviewed it, but there's things that you need to do to improve it.
Yes.
Got it.
We get
Every
those
day.
too.
Every day. Every day. Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you could just ignore those and be okay, that'd be great, because that's really annoying. But the reality is, obviously, you all want to get found on certain, when people are looking for you, when they're looking for services like yours, you do want to be found with them. So that is a challenge. And AEO just created sort of new rules for it. The good news is, how many of you have done work in SEO? Yourselves or with other vendors? Okay. So the good news is, if you've already done work, that is part of the battle. So the thing about AEO, it's not all new, okay? A lot of it is based on the same basic foundations as SEO. When I first got into this, the thing to do for SEO at the time was give customers what they're looking for. People are looking for answers to questions. Give them what they want, what they need, okay? And then back then, the catchphrase was content is king. Okay? Those things are still the same. And what's happened over the years, all the changes with Google and social media, all these things that have changed over time, it still always comes back to that. You know, sometimes there are tricks you can do and put this code in your page and all this kind of stuff. And those are valuable. But the bottom line is, give people what they're looking for. Okay? So the main thing with AEO is give people answers to the questions that they're asking in chat. Now the basics of what AEO is, let's see, let me get the right handout up here. The basics of what AEO is in the past, so about a year ago, year and a half, you could say that Google owned 80% of search traffic. So if you're trying to be found by people who are searching for businesses like yours or solutions like you offer, then really what you need to do is just make sure you were found on Google. And then what's that like to be found on Google? Okay, so that is, first of all, it's, someone searches for, a roofer in Colorado Springs, okay? And then what'll come up at the top is usually what's called a map pack. And that's the listings that has a map next to it, and it's your business listings, okay? So it'll show you 3 business listings, okay? And then under that, it might, and it'll show sponsored results, right? So people advertise. So you see those sponsored ads at the top, and then you'll see that map pack. And then you'll see some what's called organic results, which is those are the companies that are doing great with SEO, and they're showing up under that. Okay. What's happening now? Can anyone describe what you're seeing on Google either when you search or when you search for a company like yours?
Ads. When you do your search, the first thing that comes up is ads.
Yes.
And then your search results come up down below.
Yes. I'd say you're partially right. There's something else. What else are you seeing?
The AI overview.
The AI overview, right? Right? So yeah, you're totally right. Ads, they're always going to dominate. And if you're like me, I usually try and ignore the ads because I know that someone paid to get in that spot versus that's really the answer I need. But other people don't. So, if you have a really well-rounded approach, then you're going to do the ads as well. But that AI answers thing at the top. Most of you guys seen that somewhere? Yeah. Okay. So what's that do to your listing? It pushes it lower. It's one more thing to push it lower. And by the way, if you're asking a question, And AI, if I'm asking a question and AI answers it, guess what I'm not doing? I'm not clicking on one of the websites that comes up below, right? So that's a huge problem. Because now it's, okay, well, who's being featured in those answers? And at first, when that was coming out, and first it was ChatGPT and Claude and some of those, and then Google added that to the top of search, which was like a huge inflection moment, right? Well, at first, what was coming up was just an answer, and not necessarily anything related to businesses. But now, over time, the AIs are learning the value of presenting businesses as part of that. Guess what's probably coming in the next couple months? Pay-per-play, right? You'll probably be able to advertise to get, pay advertising dollars to get into that a little bit. Right? So anyway, so people are, so they go to Google and they ask a question about something they need, and then up comes those AI results, right? AI answers, and then sometimes those have businesses listed. So now the question is, if you want to be found, now obviously if someone types in best roofer in Monument, you'd love to be on that list. Okay. So that's overall more of an SEO problem, okay, or an SEO issue. But you also want to be found if someone says, was the hailstorm last week big enough to cause roof damage or something like that? Or how do I know if my roof is leaking or something like that? And so it's for a while that's been part of SEO. For a while, answering questions like that, the going wisdom has been FAQs, frequently asked questions. And when AI first came out, the first answer people gave was, have a big FAQ section on your site, and you've solved it, that's it. But now it's getting a little bit more sophisticated. So I kind of want to walk you through some of those things. So it's not all new, it's built on SEO. So if you have a good SEO foundation, you're already ahead of the game, okay? And it'll be easier for you to catch up. But it's different in key ways that are important and that matter, and that are worth investing in, okay? So ranking gets you considered, but not chosen to be in that answer block of AI. And to clarify, when I'm talking about being found by AI, so number one experience we're going to have being found with AI or finding things with AI is probably going to be Google search, because that's where we used to go. But what are more and more people doing now instead of Google search? Chat GPT, right? Or their chat of choice. I'm a Claude guy myself. But we choose our chat, our favorite chat tools, and more people are saying, I'm getting so many good answers on this, so much good information on this. I'm just skip Google. I'm just going to go to Chat GPT. So when I'm talking about being the answer, it's being the answer to any of those AI tools. So, and then what AI is looking for keeps changing. Because what's one thing we know about AI right now? It's changing every single day. It feels like deja vu to me, because I feel like just when I was in my 20s, just starting my career, and everything's changing so fast, and I'm trying to keep up on all of it and stuff like that. Except I'm not 20 anymore, so it's a little harder to keep up. But it is exciting, but it's easy to get left behind. And so the challenge is, I'm going to give you guys a snapshot of July 14th, 2026. This is the best research on what works and what's important. The challenge is that's going to keep changing over time. But if you build on the foundations that we talk about here, and if you find sources, good sources for how to keep up as things change, then you'll be in a good place. And the reality, as many emails as you're getting from all those guys trying to sell you new AEO tool sets, which is not necessarily a bad thing, by the way. I mean, they're trying to do their business, and they're probably all trying to help your business. So that's not a bad thing. as much as you get that, nobody is an expert right now. And most people are not, most businesses have not yet invested in AEO. They're not yet trying it out. They're not adapting their SEO strategy. And so you guys are in a great place now to learn how to do it. And what I'm going to be teaching you today, I'm going to be teaching you how to do it, some of this yourself. Okay? If that's who you are, that's what your budget is, that's how you like to do things, you like to get in there, you're going to learn how you can do some of this yourself. If you have a marketing partner, I'm going to teach you things to bring to them and say, hey, are you doing this? Would you look into this? What do you think about this? It's great to have a marketing partner that you can kind of go to and maybe challenge them a little bit. And they might say, no, I'm doing a little different. That's fine. That's fine. Or the third, you might recognize, oh, I really need to find somebody to help me with this. And so I'll give you a framework that helps you understand if you go out and try and find somebody to help what you're looking for. Okay, that's the goal. By the way, I would love this to be interactive. So if I say something that's like over somebody's head or it's jargon, because I can get into the technical, please raise your hand, interrupt me, just say hey, whatever. Okay. So, all right. So, how many here have a Google business profile? Are there any of you who think you should, but you don't have one yet? For local SEO, so if you're trying to get customers within this region, Google Business Profile is absolutely vital for you. And so if you have one, that's one step. It's one step ahead of many who don't. Okay? Optimizing that for keywords, for questions, for your local area is a great starting point. So again, this gets back to basic SEO. And some of the ways to do that, so a lot of people fill out just the parts that they feel are relevant. So they go into a Google, this is just a little tip. If you go into your Google profile and you have a lot of empty questions, then you're missing out on opportunities. And like, even things like handicapped access or things that you look at and you're like, this doesn't really apply to me, fill them out anyway. Fill it, if it's a no, put a no. Because that actually, having a complete profile, it gives credibility to Google, and it gives credibility to the AI entities. Okay? They're looking for, is this business credible? Okay? Yeah.
You speak of the Google Business Profile, something that I will warn everybody with on that. Any change you make to your profile has to go back through their evaluation process. So if you make those changes and you've already gone through that process, it's going to happen again. I've been through it about 4 times.
Oh my, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've found they don't do the verification process unless you make a major change, like a phone number or address or something like that. But there are a lot of other changes you can do. Do you have a full list of services outlined? Yeah.
Are you finding that including pricing on that profile is helpful? Researching, or is
I don't know
just
the answer to that. Now, in general, having pricing or a price range on your website is considered valuable, especially as we get into people asking questions through AI, like how much does a deck cost in Monument? Now that's hard. Like I've been with the contractors who say, oh, I don't like to put that out there, and I totally get that, because how can you actually answer that, right? But if you can give some kind of range or something, that's a question people ask. So if you can find a way to answer that on your website, that's a lot what we'll be talking about is answering those questions. Specifically on the Google profile, I'd actually have to look that up, or just throw it into one of the chats. Yeah, just throw it into AI and just ask how important is it to have pricing within your Google business profile. It's a great question. There are basically a big list of things you can do with your Google business profile that can help it rank well. That's sort of traditional SEO. I'm not going to cover all those here, but you can find checklists for that. You can work, if you have a marketing partner, you can work with your one of the big things is make sure that you have a full list of services. Every service that you offer, you want to have on your Google Business Profile. The second thing on the SEO side is, and this is beyond your website, but again, anyone you're working with for your website on SEO is gonna it should provide this service for you. And that is, you want to make sure your name, address, and phone number are identical everywhere they appear on the web. Okay? And if you've been doing business for a while, or you've had someone help you with SEO, there are a lot of directory sites. So there's nextdoor.com, there's Angie's List, there's there are a whole bunch, there's Yelp, and then there are a whole bunch of smaller directories that would be good for you to have your business listed there. And if you can keep those three, it's called the NAP, name, address, and phone number. Make sure that they're not different, because what happens is your business, you get a new phone number, or now you're directing the calls to someone else in your office or something like that. But not only if someone sees the wrong phone number or address somewhere on the web, they might show up at the wrong place or call the wrong number. But more importantly, Google looks at that for credibility. They'll rank you higher if you're consistent everywhere you're found. And then AI engines, even more so. So AI engines are trying to figure out, is this business credible? Should I recommend this business? And that's just one piece of credibility that makes a difference.
So you should use tracking numbers for different areas?
Like phone numbers?
Yeah.
So that's another question. That gets a little harder because sometimes people will have different phone numbers for Google because they want to track whether someone came from Google. I would say what I've seen is the reputation value of having that consistent is more valuable than the tracking. Because technically, if someone goes to your Google listing and they click on your phone number to call, you can track that directly without having a separate phone number. So there's a lot of tracking you can do with phone numbers without necessarily having separate phone numbers. And honestly, like everything I've seen and experienced is the consistency of the phone number throughout the web is more important than I can track this phone number came from that. It's a great question. All right. So this is just some of the top tips, and then we're going to go in deeper. Okay. In fact, I'm going to move beyond this one. Let's go to the next page. Let's talk about SEO versus AEO. All right, so with traditional SEO, the goal is to rank high enough so that people click your site, basically. Right? To rank high enough, and that's what's that ranking mean? Like, what are you ranking for?
Relevance.
Relevance, yep. What are people typing in?
Questions.
Keywords.
Keywords. A lot of times it's just keywords, right? There, more and more, like over the years, even before AI, people were starting to type in questions into Google, and Google was getting good at turning that into keywords, but they were always sort of converting. So they would take a question and they'd kind of convert it into these are the keywords. So if you've done SEO, you know about keywords. You know, here's my list of 10 keywords that we're really working on. Let's rank higher for those, right? Okay. With AEO, the AI answers, you want to be the answer that AI gives. And they won't even always click to your website. But that's you being seen as an expert in this, as a provider in this. And yeah, you always want them to click for more, but that's stuff we can't control now. Again, as this gets more mature, and we're in the infant stages of this stuff, I think as it gets more mature, they'll find ways to be more business friendly to help you help them, right? All right, traditional SEO. So the customer's path. So you've got a search, and then they click on a link to your site. You've got a search, and they see you in a map listing, right? Have any of you guys tried to Google yourself and find yourselves in a map listing? Yeah. And there's some businesses here probably that the map listing is more important, and other ones like that doesn't really matter. But it kind of depends on what you're doing. And then sometimes people search and they see an ad and then they click to your site. So those are kind of the three main paths from a search engine. With AI, it's they go to ChatGPT, they type in a question, and then your site can come in or your business can come in as one of the answers. Or they might just do a traditional search and they've got the AI answer at the top of the page, right? And then you want, where possible, you'd like that to be your site. So with SEO, they might type roof repair Colorado Springs. And with AEO, they might type, my roof's leaking after hail, who do I call? Or they might type, how do I know if this is a problem? Stuff like that. With SEO, being on the first page of results, so in that top 10, for certain keywords, is really important. That's kind of what you're going for. And in AEO, it's to be trusted enough to be quoted and recommended. So if you've got an answer to a problem someone's asking, a question someone's asking, that's quotable, you're credible, then you're more likely to get into the AEO. The biggest lever for SEO is backlinks and on-page keywords. So on-page keywords is actually using the keywords in your page. And for SEO, there's strategic ways to do that. You want to make sure, if you're creating a page that you've optimized for a particular keyword, then that keyword should be in your title. It should be in your code as the title of the page. It should be in some of your subheads and in some of your paragraphs. You don't want keyword. You don't want to fill your page with keywords, but you want to be strategic in how you put it there. Okay, so that's how it goes with SEO. And then backlinks. Does anybody know what backlinks are?
Basically, it's a link that is used for you to be able to get back to another page, either on your site or another site, that's going to provide information to the question that's trying to be answered.
Yeah. So it's a lot about having other people link in to your site. And where possible, that could be, this guy's a great financial advisor and it links to your site. Or it could be, here's a great answer about what to do with your 401k in 2026, and it links to your site. And guess which one's better? So the second one is. If you can answer a question in that link. So that's what backlinks are. All right. Now with AEO, it's the mentions, the reviews, and a consistent story about you that makes the bigger difference. Okay? And so are you being mentioned? Is your business being mentioned? This is where networking like this, I think, can really play a part. Where you guys can talk with each other and say, I would like to recommend you on this area of my website. And so talk a little bit about, okay, here's a trusted partner. And then you link over. That kind of endorsement, those kind of endorsements make a big difference. This is where good old-fashioned PR, if you're like me, you might have gone back and forth about how important it is to be in the news and to get those, get those good Gazette articles and stuff like that. They're becoming really important again. So if you have opportunities to connect with media, then that's really important. Yeah.
Are you seeing a correlation between the LinkedIn sites, like the social media sites, and having an effect on this, or is it completely separate?
Yeah, that's a good question. So social media and search and SEO have had have had a rough relationship over the years. And so, but what's grown over the years is sort of this general impression, I guess, within the search that these guys are doing something valuable because there's a lot of social media stuff going on, but not really specific. You can't really go down and say, that post did this for me. Really is more its own entity. I don't know on the search engine side. I think LinkedIn would be more important on the search engines, on the answer engine, the AI side, than Facebook post. I think with Facebook and Instagram and those, it's still more about people than it is about algorithms.
Does that just add legitimacy though to how you're getting found? Because if you're getting mentioned or anything on like Instagram and LinkedIn and all that stuff, it's gonna add to how Google is finding you, right?
Yes, the mentions.
Okay.
Yes, sorry, I was kind of going a different direction with sort of your own efforts. So the posts you do will have some impact in some ways. But other people mentioning, sharing, and stuff like that, yes, that is going to be valuable and be pulled in. So that's a great point. So. Any questions about, go through a couple more of these. So the content you do for SEO has been keyword optimized pages. So let me make sure that these 3 keywords, so financial advising, 401k, I'm gonna have a page that focuses on that. This is one of the bigger changes. Answer first pages. So identify what are the questions people ask and get your answer to that question via the top of the page. And we'll go over that. We're gonna get into specifics here. Now with SEO, the challenge has always been, if I just type in financial advisor, I'm competing with, the Edward Jones, and I'm competing with these huge companies. How can I ever compete with that? And the answer to that has been what's called long tail keywords. You don't have to win at the single word or the 2-word keyword. You can win at the longer questions. You can win at the, what do I need to do to wrap up my taxes at the end of the year or something like that. You can win at those. And the good news is that's very similar within AEO. It's that problem-shaped question. So again, you type in accounting monument, and you don't see yourself in ChatGPT, and you're bummed about that. But the fact is, that's going to be really hard to compete for. But if you can answer a question people are asking, you'll be able to compete in that area, and that's a way to get in the game. So, okay.
Is there a way to find out what people are asking about our particular area?
That is a good question, and let me see if that is where we're going next.
ChatGPT.
Seriously, that's how I got mine.
Yeah.
I gotta say, yeah.
That is good. It's not quite a, I don't think they're tracking. So with keywords, that's being tracked by 30 different companies. They're tracking how people are using keywords. Okay. I don't think people are tracking answers yet, and I don't know that if you just ask an AI, what are people searching for? I don't think it's going to search its database and say, oh, these are all the questions people asked. I don't know that it's making that actual data connection. Okay? Now, asking AI is a good idea because AI has a wealth of knowledge, and there are a lot of ways it could surmise that. Now, one thing I do with AI often is I don't like AI's generic answer. I don't trust it because it's pulling from the what's cool about it. It's pulling from the wealth of human knowledge, right? And it's taking the wealth of the whole internet, and it's bringing that down and it's synthesizing that, and it's coming up with an answer. But that wealth of human knowledge also includes my cousin's blog. And so I will often ask, I usually ask for sources. So if I say, what are things people are searching for, if someone's searching for my business, what are some questions that they might be asking? Then I'll say, well, what are your sources? Or I might even tell it, find experts on this. Find experts on my industry. What are the questions they're optimizing for? So instead of just saying, ask the question, give it some guidance for where to find the answer. Did you have a question? Did you have a question?
No.
Okay. All right, let's look at the AI. Let's see. Let's look at the AI search reality check. Is this making sense, guys?
Yes.
Are we tracking? Is this okay? Kind of stuff you need?
Some of the stuff you're actually talking about, I'm actually throwing into AI to
That's
see how
great.
things are coming back.
Yes.
And
You're ahead of
I
the
recommend everybody start doing that.
Yeah, and we'll have an exercise where we do that in a second, but absolutely, make this as interactive as you want. If you want to get on and start doing searches, that's the goal. The goal is that you walk out of here and you know how to do this stuff. You feel like, okay, I don't have the whole thing in my arms, but I have a handle on what AEO is and what I can do.
How do you like WordPress as a platform to build on?
Yeah, so I've been a WordPress guy for, 15, maybe 20 years. So I love WordPress. I still build sites in WordPress. So now with AI allowing such easy creation and editing of websites, I'm trying to figure out, do I stick with it? But WordPress has such a great infrastructure of an ecosystem. If someone wants a feature on their site, I can find a plugin that does it. There's no other platform that's quite like that. So I tend to prefer WordPress, and I think my tools for developing sites or editing sites will get better with AI. I think it'll be integrated more. So.
And is WordPress keeping up with being able to be searchable and all the keywords and the stuff you talked about earlier?
Yeah, WordPress is natively good at that, and then you add some plugins. There are just some key plugins that are really good at that. There's one called Yoast SEO. That's a great plugin. And there are a couple others, but yeah, there's some plugins that can kind of help you. They help you do the best you can. They remind you, what's the keyword for this page, and they remind you to write a custom description and title and stuff like that. So
Thank you.
I'm going to try to ask this intelligently.
Yeah.
Forgive me. With everybody has their preference. In the professional industry, I use Claude because
Right.
I like the answers a little bit better than if I typed it into ChatGPT. What do you have to do to appear in each one of those individual chat engine bots, whatever they are? Is it one thing to do and you hit all of them, or are there specific strategies for each one?
Sure. At this point, it's so immature. The industry is so immature that I would say two things. One, it's black box. Nobody knows. That's number one. And so it's not mature enough to know for Claude, make sure you're doing this. Because honestly, you can't even say, I can't, you're not going to walk out of here saying, I know exactly how to get seen in AI, because nobody knows the answer to that. Okay? But we know some things that are working for some people. So one, it's a little bit of a black box. Two, right now would be the same thing would work for everybody. So the things that we'll learn together are things that work for everybody, for all the engines. And then I wouldn't be surprised if over the years there's differentiation, but we're not there yet. All right, so let's look through this AI reality check. I want you to write down a couple questions. And this will feel like a repeat because we'll go into this in more depth. I just want you to start with a couple questions that your customers actually have. And then if you have a phone or a laptop and you want to do this, you don't have to do this now, you can do this at home, but if you feel like doing it, feel free to pull it up. So after you write a couple questions, then go ahead and throw it into one or two of the chat interfaces. And then you're gonna ask the AIs to mark what you get. So after you do number one, and if you're able to type it into AI, otherwise save it for home. But if you're able to type it into AI, then do number two. And some of the questions you type in, you might not get an answer that includes any companies. And that's okay. Yeah.
So just a thought. What's the likelihood that the chat engine you're talking to is looking at what it already knows about you, and so maybe recommending your own business to you because it already knows your business?
That is actually a great point. That's a great point. Yeah. When I do this kind of check, I will often I have like a free account and I have a paid account. I'll often log in under the free account, or I'll just use use it in private mode or incognito. In fact, what you have on screen here. So I went to ChatGPT on incognito because I wanted to avoid that very point. I'm really glad you brought that up. I wanted to avoid that issue, but I didn't want to log into my regular account with ChatGPT, and they didn't let me do a search that way. And so what I would suggest, and what I'm going to do is I'll create an account you don't use for much. That's just a free account. With these, you're going to do these checks regularly, and then use those. With Gemini, it didn't require logging in, so then I just went to Gemini and put my answer. So put my question. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. So the question was, how do you make sure if you're using these AI tools regularly, how do you make sure it's not going to bias its answer back to you based on what it knows about who you are? Like for me, I'm a roofing client, and I have a deck building client and stuff like that. So if I typed in deck building in Colorado Springs, it might show me my own clients, right? And that's not helpful for me to see what actually shows up. So the idea is to find a way to anonymize yourself. So Gemini can do it in incognito mode without having to log in, or you could just use a separate email, just create a free account on ChatGPT.
When I type in tax-related questions about filing returns, a lot of the results that I'm getting back have Reddit listed as giving the advice.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the question is, why does Reddit come back in a lot of the answers when you type in your instance, tax information about taxes? And that's one of the reasons I'm really careful when I do, when I teach AI classes, I teach about how to tell it what sources you want. I will usually say no Reddit, no forums, because I don't, who knows if those are credible answers, right? So it kind of depends on what you're asking. Now, sometimes I'm looking for customer impressions. And so, what are people thinking? What are they talking about? And then I will actually say, look at forums. But often, otherwise, if I remember ahead of time, I'll say, no forums. If I don't, and I see those results come back, I'll just correct it and say, I don't want to see forums. I want to see, I want to see experts. I want to see. And the other thing, a general tax question, you're probably not going to get a local result if you're not asking about who can help me or something like that. So for that, you may want to put in your location, in Monument. How can I get help with this, or what's an answer to this, or something like that. So your question could change a little bit if you're just getting results from the IRS and from big tax firm or something like that. Is the exercise making sense? Do you guys get results that were illuminating? Anyone want to comment on what you saw? Anything surprise you, or I wish I was there? Or, yeah.
One of the businesses that my wife and I know actually came up in the search that I did.
Nice.
So
must be doing something right.
So they're doing something right apparently.
That's great.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
Well, I was searching, of course, speed puzzling in Colorado for ads, and it was very broad, and my store didn't come up at all.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, I said Colorado Springs versus Palmer Lake, number one. But then I said, well, why didn't MindQuest come up? And they said, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot about MindQuest, and told me information of actually they're doing much of what you asked about, and so gave me all this information. So it was quite interesting, but I wasn't specific. I could have said Colorado versus Colorado Springs, or just Palmer Lake in general.
Yeah.
So, but then I said, what could MindQuest post better about it? Like, how could it
Nice,
spin
good.
up on
Okay.
it? And
Good
then
follow-up.
they just, so I need to have a dedicated event page, because all of my events are products only. And so to have a page with all of my descriptions of all the events would have come up in ChatGPT.
There you go.
Oh, that's helpful.
There you go. That's very helpful. So that follow-up question is a great follow-up question. I'm going to show you other ways to sort of address it. Okay, you find what's there, what do you do with it? But that's just one simple way. Just say, okay, what do I do different? I want to show up here. There's nothing wrong with going that direction.
I was just going to ask Karen, what AI did you use for that?
It was ChatGPT.
It's interesting because I used Gemini, asked a similar question, and it was like, oh, my bad. Interesting. How does that?
So yeah, no, it said something about, what was it? It said,
I'm massive oversight on that part.
yeah, so, and I said, I thought MindQuest Puzzles and Games hosts speed puzzling events. You're right, I missed that. Thanks for pointing it out. So, I mean, it was very, like, why did you miss it? And said, that's a thoughtful question. I don't think the issue is that MindQuest is unimportant. It was more a combination of how it initially searched and how information is distributed. I mean, just kind of like, sorry about that.
So that, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So it's probably a different class, but is it really an oversight, or is it just trying to get in our psychology to keep being friends? Like, I know there's other AIs out there. I'm really sorry about that.
Well, I think it might go back to what he said, like being a little bit more specific how you're asking.
Yeah.
Like, so, because you're not having Reddit on there and those types of things, so just being a little bit more specific.
Okay. I think it's still trying to get on my good side.
Well, you're absolutely right. The AIs all try and get on your good side. Yeah.
You have a FAQ page on your website. If you think of more ways people would ask questions.
Yes.
Is that helpful in AI, or is that more SEO?
It's helpful in both. So getting at more ways, but the thing with AI is going to do better at the meaning Like with SEO, it was the keywords. And they would sometimes, like, you might say, what's a good example? You might have two different words for something, and the search engines were good at figuring out, okay, this is another word for the same thing. So you didn't always have to have that exact word. But with AI, it's even better at that. And so with AI, it's really processing meaning. So you don't necessarily need to reframe. So with SEO, you might reframe the question all the different ways someone might ask it. You don't necessarily need to do that, but you can think of what are some alternatives that are similar. It's a different question with a different answer.
I wouldn't have to say, so when people say, I want to buy a used home, and realtors say, resale home, right? So you're saying I wouldn't really have to say, pose that question in two different ways. Can I buy a resale, what's better to buy a resale home or a new home?
Right.
And I don't have to say, what's better to buy a used home or a new home?
So the good news is we don't need to clutter the internet with that kind of stuff as much anymore.
Okay, so
You used to need to do that. You don't need to clutter the internet with stuff like that as much. But what you might do is, if you know people use two different words for it, choose one, resale, and then use the word used in your copy somewhere on the same question. You don't have two different questions. Does that make sense?
Good idea.
Karen, I would say, to your point, I would say there's work probably that you need to do, because you should be found for that. AI should have found you for that, and it's not an it said it was an oversight. That was kind of a polite way to say. There wasn't, in the way I look for things, the way you have things, they didn't match. And so that's where you do want to figure out, okay, so what are those questions? Still keywords, still do keywords. What are those keywords? Speed puzzling, Colorado, okay? That's one you should nail, because especially since you don't have much competition. So what are the questions you can answer about that? I think you can get there. So,
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. All right, and so this basic approach, so did you guys find other people showing up or other businesses showing up in your results? Did you find any businesses showing up?
I knew to tell it not to give me the answer that it wanted to give me. I said, if I was not who I am,
Right.
what would they find? What would a regular person find if they searched this?
Right.
And then my follow-on question.
Oh, that's a good idea. I haven't tried that. I don't know how reliable that would totally be, because
Yeah, I'm not sure.
they still know you, right?
It likes to kiss your butt.
But you could try that. That's a good idea. Just tell it, please ignore what you know about me. Yeah.
My question is always, I always have a follow-on question. So for this one, it would be, how would I get to be that first spot, or how would this business get to be in that first spot?
Right.
What are the daily tasks I need to do to accomplish that? And I always get so overwhelmed with the answer. If I need 2-3 employees to do everything you just told me.
Yeah. I think we're all there, and the big companies have budget for a bunch of people. AI is making it more possible to do more of that, and so you could, if you have to do it yourself, you could learn a process that you can run through, that you can kind of loop through, and even one of the things that I teach and others teach in AI is agents. So you can actually set up AI to do this for you on a regular basis. First time you do it, it takes a long, might take 4 hours to get it set up. Then after that, it's time to kind of run. So there are things you can do to make that better. Or if you work with an agency, if they're smart, they're using AI to make it fast and efficient. So, but yeah, it's a challenge. And then you have to pick your battles. You have to decide, okay, what's most important for me right now? All right, let me see. All right, so this is a general roadmap to kind of see where you are. You only do 2 questions, 1 or 2 questions. Your number one opportunity, if AI answers the question, but it's not but it's not answering it with you, and it's something you can answer well, like you'd be a good part of AI's answer if you had it out there, then you've got a great opportunity. Okay, you can write a page that can present you as potential for that answer. If there's no clear answer, gosh, I have a hard time seeing that actually happening, but if you look at the answer and you're like, that's not really a good answer for this. Maybe it's a complex question in your field. And you're like, wow, they're not really providing a good answer. Then you've got a great opportunity there. And then if you're already named, then you're winning. So that's good. That's great. But you want to keep it fresh. So the thing is, this will be even more than SEO. This will be about freshness. And so you could show up today, and 3 months from now, you're not showing up. You're like, what happened? I have the same great information, but you didn't. So refreshing pages. So yes, there's going to be a burden of work on us to be able to do this well. I think there are ways to utilize AI to make that easier and to build routines. That's another cost, probably. Yeah.
Okay, so quick question on just that exercise we just did. I have a website that I'm building that has, and I went to AI and said, what are the top 25 questions people are asking right now about what we do?
Yeah.
And then, so I built the videos based on that, like, here's your basic answer, here's your basic answer. Is it helpful to say, okay, I've got the video, but I also need the text, and have the text more detailed, like what I just saw?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you're getting at is, can you use AI to help you build out the content you need? Did I do that right?
Just like I have the video because I know people engage better with video. But is it helpful to have more detailed text answering that same question?
I see. Is the video enough? Yes, adding the text is really, really valuable. In fact, honestly, if you've got an informational video, if it's not just, hi, I'm owner of such and such, we love to serve our customers, but if it's actually like informational, you should always have a transcript.
Okay.
Always put a transcript on a page, and an AI summary. Just ask AI, hey, summarize this in some bullet points, put that at the top, then a transcript, stuff like that. So yeah, that's really good. I'm realizing that we're answering questions as we go, so I may not leave a big Q&A at the end, but I'm realizing that time is passing quickly, so let me move to the next thing. So did that reality check page make sense? All right, so now, how do you come up with those questions, okay? So there are a couple ways. This is just a worksheet to talk about how you choose those questions to check out. Okay. So just general, something's broken. So this isn't working, I need it fixed. And that could be something on your house or an appliance, or it could be your financial situation or whatever. So another one's I want to do a thing. I'm planning a project. I need to know how to start it. Okay. So the kind of project that you and your business would be able to help them with. Okay. Is it worth it? Is this right for me? How did it fit? And so that's another type of question. So the goal is for you to come up with a list of questions, just like in SEO. You may have come up with a list of keywords. You want to come up with a list of questions that over time you want to be found for. Okay, and so this kind of helps with that. Which way should I go? Should I choose path A? Should I choose path B? So these are just different kinds. And then what will it cost? So. Again, like we talked before, a lot of people don't like to put cost stuff on there. But even if you can guide them to how to think about costs, you can answer that question in a way that's not necessarily saying, your job will be $10,000. Okay. All right.
So,
yeah.
are those questions you're putting on your website?
I'll get to that. Okay. Another way to get at questions, good question. Another way to get at questions is, I'm not going to bring it up, but find your customers' pain points, okay? So this is in your packet. So start with your inbox, your calls, maybe reviews that people give you. Identify what are their pain points, Because if you can answer questions that are, so again, I'm going to ChatGPT, I'm trying to solve a problem that your business could potentially fix, okay? So what are the pain points in my life that are leading me to get that problem solved, okay? So if you can identify those through, your best bet is within your inbox. And by the way, if you are using, if you know how to connect AI to your inbox, then you can actually have it go through and find those things for you. So it's not something necessarily you have to mine message by message, but however you get to it. And then reviews. So look at your reviews, look at competitors' reviews. Those are a great way to find what are people trying to solve, okay? So whoever answers your phone could talk about, oh yeah, they're often calling with this question. This is where the Reddit type stuff, Facebook, the groups can come in handy. I'm trying to find out what my customers are talking about. What are they asking about? Reddit and Facebook groups and stuff like that can be a great source for that. But you can have AI go out and find it. So, like for one client, I had AI go out and find what are the pain points that people describe when they're doing a deck building project. And it did and I kept pushing more and more and more. I got this comprehensive list of it, like the top 20 things that are pain points that people are frustrated with their contractors. And then I was able to compare that to their reviews and identify, oh, people are frustrated with this, but here's what we offer. This is how we solve that problem, stuff like that. So, okay, so anyway, this is all about what questions do I want to answer. Okay. All right. The next one gets at your question, how to become the answer. Okay. Does everybody have that page? All right, I'm just going to read through it, not on screen. All right. So this is probably important in this conversation. Okay. All right. So first you want to find the questions. Okay, so we talked about different ways to do that. Oh, another way, by the way, is when you search for a question in Google, there's a place on the page, usually I think it's towards the bottom of the page, that Google says people also ask. It's kind of a way to jump at another query that's similar. If you list those out, that tells you what your customers are asking. That can expand on your original idea for a question. And then, like you were pointing out, ask an AI. Just ask them, what do people ask before hiring my kind of business? And then test the answers. So you run each question through ChatGPT, through Claude, Gemini, and Google, and then just a Google search to see Google's answer at the top. Okay. So, does AI answer it well? Are you named or cited? Whose page did it pull answers from? Okay. All right, so here's a key insight that's really helpful, and I'll show you this in action. You can use the answer it came up with as a brief. Have you guys used a brief before where you ask someone to write something up or to design something, so you give them a brief, this is what I'm looking for. So here I'm retiring soon near Colorado Springs, need help with my 401k, okay? And so here's Gemini's answer. And look, it says the right professional, look for a fee-only fiduciary CFP. So if you're not one of those, sorry, that's the answer they're giving, but if you are one of those, then you can fit into at least what they're asking for. Or you can answer the question a different way. And then where to find them, you can see they're coming up here. And then trustworthy national directories. What to ask them, what to ask this firm when I hire them or when I'm looking to hire them. So all of this is really great information. So you can take that area information, you can copy and then paste that into an AI, and then ask it to use that as to answer those questions, or to generate questions and answers to build into your site. Okay, so I can take this very answer and I can say I want I want to answer this question well on my website. And then, so that is actually looking at the real results. If you do that with a couple of the different AI tools, then you'll have a really good basis on which to build. You know, the big question is, okay, what do I do differently? Okay, I want to build some pages on my site that answer those questions. Okay. All right. So then you build a page. So you decide first, do I edit an existing page and I just add this question or this question and answer to the existing page, or do I need a new one? Okay. So, and here's a differentiator with AEO. You want to try and answer in the first 2 sentences of the page. Okay? And so that might lead you to create a new page for this question answer. Okay? Because AI is a big they love summarizing. They love cutting corners. Okay? And so they're going to look to see if they're looking at you and they're looking at someone else, and you have the answer to the question in your first 2 sentences, and the other person has it later on the page, they're going to find and choose you. Okay? So actually identifying these questions as we talked about, and then making sure that you're addressing them up top. It might be separate pages, doesn't have to be your main pages, or it could be on your service page. You know this is the main question people are going to ask, I'm going to put it right there at my service page. And you can answer more than one question on your page. Okay? You're not stuck with Google. A lot of times with SEO, a lot of times it's like, oh, I only answer one question. Each page has its own. Yeah, you can answer related questions. So that's where you kind of bring your questions. Say, you know, this one's kind of related to this other one. I'll answer a couple of those on my page. So, any questions on that?
Can you talk about Substack?
You know, let's talk offline, because I think I want to get through a little bit more of this, and I think that might be a separate conversation. All right. And then you build the page. So it used to be when you built pages, the going expectation was you build it as an FAQ, and it's question, and then you click and you see the answer, and then you have an FAQ section and stuff like that. With AI, you want to incorporate it more into the general content of your site. Okay, it's less important that you have this separate. You can still have a separate FAQ section. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's not going to help you with AI as much as incorporating answers into your pages. Okay. All right. All right. Let's go to the next page. How to write so AI will quote you. Okay. All right. So for this one, answer first every time. So, and you don't even necessarily have to have the question. So you can write an answer in a way that it incorporates the question. So it doesn't have to be as rudimentary and maybe slightly off-putting, just question answer type thing. Okay. If you have multiple answers that you're going to put on a page, just put them in different sections with a header. So the subhead.
So when you say sections, you mean pages?
No, I actually mean on a page. So you might have a page, and instead of like one page per question to answer, that it's only a paragraph. That gets frustrating for users, frankly, and it doesn't necessarily help you rank better. So you might say, here, I'm going to answer these questions on this page, but then you'd have your page header, and then you'd have a header for each question.
Okay. Thank you.
Like from the beginning of web stuff, short paragraphs, lists, make it scannable. Scannable for humans is great because nobody likes to read long paragraphs on the screen, but it's also important for AI because AI is really looking for those quick hits. So. And then, let's see, skip the throat clearing. This was AI's wording. Basically, don't do a lot of, our happy text. In today's evolving landscape, many homeowners wonder about costs. No, just get to the question. The custom home near monument runs about this much per square foot, or whatever. So, that's all right. We are getting close to time. I'll just tell you about the other pages in here. So with SEO, it's one of the key pieces that a lot of people actually don't address is backlinks, so it's getting people to link to your site. Okay, there are ways to do that. There are companies that can help you do that. It's very important for SEO. With AEO, it's less about the links and it's more about brand mentions. It's more natural. They're looking to see if they're mentioning, you know, Joe's financial planner in lots of places on the web. So any ways you can get those brand mentions, those are, the links are still valuable for SEO, but the brand mentions are as important for AEO. A quick solution, fix your listings anywhere. Like I said, name, address, phone number. Make sure every one of the listings out there has that consistent. If you're a source for information, you can advertise that on other people's site, but if you could be a source of information on somebody else's site, that's a lot better for all of these things. So, let's see. Trade mentions with partners. This is kind of what I mentioned, where you guys can find ways to mention each other on each other's websites. That helps everybody. All right, and then there's a sheet on asking for reviews and photos. Reviews have been really vital for local SEO for a long time. So making sure you have a lot of reviews on Google and other sources, but especially on Google, and that they're recent and that hopefully they're high, right? That's important. Oh, and specific where possible. So where they can actually say they helped me with this job. And so this is just some ideas for how to make those requests. There are tools you can use or that others can help you with to automate some of that request for Google reviews. And then this last piece, I think it was promised in the class description, was a quarterly visibility checklist. So this last piece is something that you can use on a quarterly basis, monthly basis, wherever you're realistically at. Kind of run through this, and this is a way to check where things are. A piece I would add to that is this is going to continue to change. So find as you get those emails from people who are doing AI stuff, find some trusted people who can help you keep up on it, so that 3 months from now, when the world has changed, you're acting on stuff that makes sense for what's going on. So that is it. So a lot of it really is in this handout. There will be an online version of this. It's not up yet, but if you check by tomorrow, it'll be up. I do a free newsletter to keep up with happenings in AI, and I'm starting a lot of classes for different aspects of AI. So if you guys are interested, that's on my website.
Where will that be at? So Digital Spry website.
Digital Spry. DigitalSpry.com, and it's on pages in that.
So one, this was very humbling, but extremely valuable. If we wanted to take it further, say a coaching scenario, is like something that you offer, or?
It is, yes. I'd love to do one-on-ones. So let's grab coffee or lunch anytime. I'm glad to do that. That's a good starting place.
It's at the bottom of each page.
And then I do, I'm doing coaching. So that's more ongoing. Let's figure out what works. Each month we'll have conversations. And then I'm doing consulting. Some businesses want me to come in and implement AI for them or implement marketing or whatever. So I do that. So those are kind of three. And the classes. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dan. It is a big topic to cover. It's hard to encapsulate a moving target, right? So getting principles that can help guide you is so helpful. I also really love how you talked about collaboration. That's such a big part of the Tri-Lakes Chamber of Commerce that I've really loved, and a big part of this community is that we do have a lot of business owners that are collaborative. So you're not lonely at the top. You can have other people that you work with. So you could have a coffee one-on-one with your buddy and sit down and you guys use each other's chat GPT to search each other's business and check in with each other or whatever. So it's like you're working together as a team to help learn these things, find out what's being said, or mention each other. like he said, a lot, was like mentioning one another, recommending one another, and that kind of thing really does help too. So, so I found in our community that is a huge part of what is true of the Tri-Lakes Tabor community. So if you are interested in learning more about that because you're not a member or getting more engaged in that, please let me know. There are some event-driven things on this page, so if you want to know about other events that are coming up, you are welcome to look at them. Our business after hours happen once a month. We rotate locations so that we can highlight different businesses. There is one next week at the Western Museum of Mining and Industry, and it is free if you are coming for the first time, or if you're a member, then they're all included. So if you're interested, consider signing up. It's a great networking opportunity. We typically have around 115, 120 people there. Dan is often there, Pete is there, so Karen, a lot of people in this room. So anyway, if you're interested, there's some things here. We also do a lot of really fun events and ways to get your name out in the community in a different way. So Monument Pours in the Park is a libation festival that we do every fall here in Limbaugh Park. People buy a ticket and they get unlimited tastings. It has been primarily beer focused. It is now being like big craft libations in general. So there's local brewers, wineries, distilleries. I'm trying to get somebody in that does kombucha and lemonade and ginger beer and stuff, but they do it on the tap. So you buy a ticket and you get a fun tasting glass, and then you can come in and you can sponsor the event. So then you get visibility with that, and sponsors get a table in between all the beverage people. So while people are having a good time listening to music and drinking and stuff, then they can meet you along the way as they're walking around the park. So we are still taking sponsors for this event. And this one, unlike some of our others, I can tell you like the exact zip codes of people who buy tickets for this event. So anyway, we have some fun things. But thank you so much for coming to this education series. We love doing it in partnership with the SBDC. These are once a month. I've been live streaming it on Facebook, and I'm going to put it up on our website afterwards. So if you want to go revisit what Dan said, share it with your friends, please mention Digital Spry and his information. But this will be available on the internet shortly, and I'll send it out in a follow-up email. Also, thank you to Pete Oldmixon and Peace of Mind. There are tons of bagels in the kitchen. Please get them. But also, if you have any work that needs to be done, or friends that have work that needs to be done and you just can't get to it, or it's a task that you don't have the ability to do, Pete is super resourceful and loves to be of service. So please consider Peace of Mind Limited as an option for you. So thank you guys for being here today. We'll see you again sometime soon.